Hi everyone, Dee Casson here, also known as the Clarity Concierge. For those of you who can't see me, I'm a very tan woman with short, wavy salt and pepper hair. I have in a yellow flower in my hair. I'm wearing clear glasses and a red and black polka dot dress. And if you're not familiar with this series, Ask Me Almost Anything. You ask your questions, and I will use intuitive tools to. This series, I've been mainly using Pokemon cards to tap into our subconscious and produce a new perspective about the situation to help you and move forward. I like us to begin by taking a moment to arrive, releasing all that's happening. I don't know if it's morning, afternoon, or evening for you. Please feel free to share where you are logging in from. And if you're team replay, love to hear from you as well. So let's begin by taking a deep breath in and exhale. Deep breath in and exhale. In and exhale. And just take a moment to settle into this space, noting where you're at, your feelings, any sensations, anything like that that's coming up for you. Maybe you have I don't know, tingling in your neck, or you feel a sensation in your heart, anything like that. Just take a moment to be present with yourself, and we'll get started. So we'll begin, like I always do, with the Pokemon card of the day. It's kind of an overarching theme, or just something to think about as we go through the rest of your day. Ah, we get Rare Candy. This is a picture of kind of the old school round hard candies wrapped in a wrapper with the little ends twisted off. It is a bright light blue glowing candy backlit with a yellow glowing light. And I think that life is a treat with this card. It's thinking about all those little moments that bring you joy, and they're not often. It's not often that we are gifted those moments of joy. Like yesterday, talking with a friend, and we laughed so hard. I have not laughed that hard in quite some time. So, what are these little things that bring you joy? And it's a yellow and blue theme. So, yellow for me is about joy and personal empowerment, and blue for me, it goes. I think blue, I think about water and feelings, but I also think about speech and communication. So, communicating joy. I personally am working on paying attention to the words I use, the words I throw away that just come out of my mouth without even thinking about it. And I want to speak more uplifting words. I'm not talking about toxic positivity, but being intentional with the words that come out. You can take on that challenge as well, or maybe you have a different challenge. So that is our card of the day. Give a moment to drink some water and allow you time to put in your questions. Okay, perfect. So we're going to go ahead, and I found a fun one from, I have a little app, but these are some really fun questions and tie in very nicely to our theme of the day. So, exploring joy, what brings you joy that you like to do more often? And we have the Fire Energy Pokemon card. This is an orangey red card. that has a glowing red sphere that's kind of shaped like a comet, and it has a black fire icon in the center. And I think that ties in perfectly. To me, the fire energy card symbolizes creativity, things you're passionate about, things that feel good. So, what are some things that bring you joy? How do you creatively express yourself? Maybe you are an artist. Maybe your art is gardening. I mean, it takes a special kind of creativity to figure out how to keep plants happy, because I am not that person. My garden is more Lord of the Flies, survival of the fittest. So scallions, for those of you fellow people that are magical gardeners, scallions are pretty easy to grow, at least where I live. So that might, and aloe's relatively easy to grow. I managed to have not killed that as yet, but it does bring me joy. I went to this cool little place yesterday. It was a restaurant and it had a garden. I didn't know that broccoli had flowers. Did you know that? Did you know that broccoli is flowers? And they're beautiful. They're these beautiful yellow flowers. I didn't know that. So you're eating, when you eat broccoli, it's like little, like undeveloped flowers. Anyway, it's quite tasty. And they had tomatoes and chives. It was just magnificent. So that brought me a lot of joy. And maybe going out brings you joy. So, what are the things that bring you joy that you'd like to do more often? Cooking brings me joy. Definitely art. I'm staring at this canvas of a piece I've been having in my head for too long, and I'm just not there yet. I don't know if it's fear keeping me from completing it. It's not a pleasant piece. It's kind of going to be a visceral piece when it's done. I used when it's done. And I think every day, actually, it's a good thing now that there's a creative idea. Now that I have put this on pause for so long, I believe that I can bring in some more relevant imagery to this piece. So I'm kind of excited about it. And the color scheme lends itself very nicely. Okay, cool. So I have something to be excited about, but I'm not going to do that today because I'm going out to see a friend. All right. So what brings you joy when you think of what sets you on fire in the best way possible? What lights you up and that you would like to do more often? Okay. And sometimes, like, these things seem so simple, but our lives are really complicated. So, where are some areas that we can reduce, eliminate, let go, so we have more room for joy in our life? Okay. This is a very sparkly card, so I'm going to try my best to describe it. This is light toxicity, and it looks like an electric weasel. It's very sparkly, so it's hard for me to describe it, show it to you. There's like a blue weasel surrounded by like electricity, and it's in the forest. I think there's, yeah, let me look. There's like little minions around it. I'm trying to zoom in because it's so shiny. Oh yeah, that's easier. Okay, so there's these little blue dancing rocks that kind of have plant headdresses. So maybe they're bulbs, like plant bulbs, and they're dancing around this glowing weasel that's sitting on a rock. It looks like they're making music and dance. Yeah, when this Pokemon sounds as if it's strumming a guitar, it's actually clawing at the protrusions on its chest to generate electricity. Okay. So, what are the things we can do to lighten up our life? I mean, this is still electric Pokemon. So, for me, this is still more associated with joy and bringing joy into our life. And so, what can we eliminate or simplify? And this looks like a pretty simple life. You're just chilling, playing. Well, this particular Pokemon is banjo, and people are dancing. It's in nature, so I think it gets hints about maybe putting down our phone, even though this isn't a lightning Pokemon, but getting out in nature, being in community. I think those are areas that can help to simplify our life. It does slow ballad, so literally slowing things down, watching a long documentary, right? That's making things from scratch. That it takes longer, but it's simpler. For example, I will never buy pancake syrup again. It is so easy and it's so good, and it doesn't take long. And it's simple. It's a very simple recipe to make pancake syrup. And you have to be intentional to use it because you have to store it in the refrigerator. So a way to simplify life might just be being more intentional, trying to understand and get a better connection to things like your food. Or if you're listening to music, have you ever listened to music, not had it on in the background, but purposefully and intentionally listen to the music? And you notice, oh, wow, I didn't know this instrument was in there. Or, oh, that's a really interesting harmony that's in the music. So that's a way to simplify your life is slowing down and paying attention to what's happening in your life. You may actually be missing so many joyful moments because you're not in the moment. You didn't even recognize that, oh wow, this soap smells really good, or this dress is soft, or this material is nice, or wow, what a beautiful sky out there. Just getting down to nature, or how much you appreciate the people in life, that you don't take them for granted. It sometimes is just as simple as picking up the phone and saying hi to an old friend. That's what I did yesterday, and we laughed and laughed and laughed. It was wonderful. So those are some ideas that I can think of, but what ideas do you have on ways to simplify your life and allow for more time for joy? And as we're thinking about all these great ideas, the things we want to do, the things that maybe we don't need to do anymore so that we have more time for the things that we actually want to do, what's one thing you can do to start getting closer to your joy? And we get Wingull. Okay. This bird, it it's not quite a pelican. The beak is more like a toucan, and it has gull wings, like a gull wing car. They look like letter M. The bird is gray. It has blue stripes, and it's sitting on a rock. The water is crashing against it, and there's some palm trees in the background. And it's a water energy. Water for me is about going deep in your feelings, maybe going with the flow. Fishermen keep an eye out for Wingull in the sky because wherever they're circling, the ocean is sure to be teeming with fish Pokemon. Interesting. Interesting. So, how does that help us one step forward? Well, I mean, the Wingull is circling, so it's has a higher vantage point. It's roosting, it's taking a moment, and it's in community because in the background there's some other Wingulls hanging out back there. So it might just be deciding what you want to do, or taking a moment to reflect on those things that maybe you weren't even aware of, the things that bring you joy, or ideas about how to simplify your life. So that could be one way to do it. Revisit your feelings about these things. A lot of times, feelings are creations of the stories we tell ourselves about a situation. For example, my art piece, I can feel dread about it because it's not done, or feel excited about, well, the pause has given me time to percolate new ideas about the same piece. So feelings are a creation that we tell stories to make happen. And the Wingo is also out there. It's out in nature. It's out looking actively for things. So perhaps you can, I don't know your situation, but if you have access to the internet, sometimes there's city events that are posted on the websites or places like Eventbrite or meetups. There's tons of posting about protests that are out there every day. If that's your jam, uh, you can look at community boards to get ideas, or just go out, go try a new place, go have a cup of coffee, meet a new person. Those are simple things you can do, but that's just my, I'm not living your life. So in your life, what what exemplifies you getting out and about and doing new things to bring you joy and light a fire? So I will let you sit with that for a moment and give people time to write in the chat. And again, if you are team replay, that's totally fine as well. And I hope that those of you that have liked this post will join and send in your questions. If you're shy, just put them in the comments. And you can, don't name me. I mean, you'll see them in the comments, but or send me a DM if you're shy. My phone will buzz and I'll get the message, and I'm happy to answer your questions live. And take a sip of water because that brings me joy. Okay. Yesterday I was talking with my friends, and we were exploring Liz Leba's books. Here, a shameless plug for her. The book is I'm Not Yelling. I'm showing you a yellow book. It has like a line figure drawing of a beautiful Black woman with her hair piled on her head in profile. It's called I'm Not Yelling, A Black Woman's Guide to Navigating the Workplace by Elizabeth Leba. And the book is really, so far I've had this book for a year, finally reading it with book club. So hey, community can help you accomplish your goals. And we're really enjoying the reflection questions in the book. And we were talking about the journey that we're on together. And we're in the chapter where Liz is talking about imposter treatment. And funny enough, all of us felt like we belonged in the places that we were, but any of the imposter treatment we kind of do to ourselves. In my long-standing recent job, I was hired when I was pregnant, and I really felt like I work even harder than everybody else because, I'm going to be taking time off. And at least I had supportive boss, supportive coworkers. The baby was the therapy baby, so I mean that was really nice. And I guess I'll explore a little bit if we're treating ourselves like the imposter versus it being something more external. So let's explore that with our friends, the Pokemon. How or what is happening? So here we have Flaffy. Flaffy is another electric Pokemon. Flaffy looks like it's a pink animal. It's walking on its feet. It has hair like a poodle, just white hair on the top of its head and around its neck. I don't think it's a dog. It has a long dinosaur type tail with a blue glowing ball on it. Flaffy is walking on the literal yellow brick road with the green grass behind it. And let's see if there's any insights about Flaffy. If its coat becomes fully charged with electricity, its tail, it fires hair that zaps on impact. So I'm getting the vibe that perhaps Flaffy It needs external stimulation to find joy. It's walking in an environment, and that's what's it up. That's what's charging it up, but it gets discharged as well. So perhaps in these circumstances, we're relying on the external things to fill us up instead of having an internal confidence. I don't know. That could be interpretation. I mean, Flappy looks pretty happy to me, walking along the path. But Flappy is also walking this path alone. I don't know what it's oohing and awing over, but something has caught its attention, and its tail is upright and the blue ball is fully charged. So that's awesome. Maybe this is when you start a new job, or you're walking into the office that day, or into a situation. And then, well, so what's the challenge? Everything looks like it's going pretty good for Flappy. Let's see what the challenge could be. Ooh. We get trubbish. This is, I can't remember the word, but the personification of a trash bag. And this is a psychic energy Pokemon. It's a little green trash bag with its eyes closed, sitting on the ground, surrounded by rubbish. And it's called Trubbish. So sometimes we poison. I think we treat ourselves like an imposter because we start overthinking. This Pokemon likes unsanitary places. So I think when we treat ourselves like an imposter, we go down these toxic mental rabbit holes and maybe tell ourselves we're not good enough, or that our efforts are rubbish. I've definitely gone down this rabbit hole in doing these lives some days. I'm on day 25, and I struggle some days because I don't always get as many guests as I'd like, and that's okay. And I think to myself, oh, what could I do differently? Or maybe nobody's interested in what I have to say. But I do get a couple team replay, and the feedback has been very nice. So I keep going. But again, like Flaffy, I can't rely only on external stimulation. I decided to do this challenge, to level up. I was inspired by Taslim's challenge of reviewing LinkedIn profiles for 12 hours straight. I didn't have 12 hours, but this will be 29 hours, well, 28 and a half hours, because one of the events I got a stretcher card, like it's basically go rest, and I really was exhausted. But I have done one every day. And so, do you find yourself doing this? Everything's great. You're actually doing the things. And then those thoughts creep into your head, or you interject them into your head. Nobody has given you this feedback. So you decide to fill the space with the most negative things possible. Why? Why do we do that? It goes against our intuition. Yeah, this one is a psychic energy Pokemon card. So in our higher spaces, why do we tell these stories to ourselves? That is definitely a challenge, and it interferes with our joy. So what can help us in this particular situation where we're the ones treating ourselves like the imposter? Oh, another psychic energy Pokemon card. This is a poison one. This is Nidorano. It looks like a jacked up bunny. It is the angriest dinosaur bunny rabbit on Earth. It's a little purple pink Pokemon in the grass. And psychic energy, again, is your thoughts. And let's see what the comments are. Its large ears are flap like wings. And it is listening to distant sounds. It extends toxic barbs when angered. So I think this continues to describe the situation when we speak these things to ourselves. So what could help us might be listening to that self-talk. Nitorano has really big ears. And again, this has been my personal challenge because sometimes we're not even aware that we're shooting ourselves in the foot. The thoughts think themselves. I don't think there's some malevolent being out there screaming into our ears. You hear messages from social media, from your environment, from television shows. Just there's a lot of external stimuli out there. So, what could help is maybe paying attention to the story that you're telling yourself. You might still need to explore further as to why you are telling these stories about yourself to yourself. Where are they coming from? Were they something discovered in childhood that you can talk to a therapist? Not a therapist, not my area of expertise, but you can talk to a therapist about these things if that's where you find these are coming from. I like to do morning pages and journal about things and reflect on them as the days go by. It's also paying attention to different parts of your body. To live in my head, and that's a way to distance myself from the emotions because I don't know how humans deal with that, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better at not letting the happen. So it could be sitting maybe with some of these uncomfortable ideas by exploring why these come into play. Uh, why do you tell these things to yourself? What has happened in the past? Maybe you tried something, it didn't work out, but I mean, that's like trying a new food group and you may not like it the first time, but try it in different ways. Like I like mustard now and I didn't like it before. And now I notice like when it's included in like my mom's mac and cheese, it tastes good. Or there's a dish that it's everything I hate. It's eggplant. It's God, I can't even remember. I think there's anchovy in there. It's all food that I hate. But put that all together, it's amazing. It tastes so good. So listen or journal, pay attention to the things you're telling yourself, to the words that you're using, and you can further explore why things are coming up that allow you to treat yourself like you don't belong in a situation. And then going forward, what can help us treat ourselves less like an imposter? And ooh, we have the dark energy Pokemon. This is a navy blue card. It has a glowing blue sphere with a black crescent moon. And I don't associate dark energy as something negative. I associate it with systems and outcomes. What with systems, the underlying systems that may be run unseen. I think this definitely tied into the talk that's going inside our heads, those kind of subroutines, our subconscious programming that we're not even aware of. And becoming aware of those systems and undercurrents is another way to help you from treating yourself like you're an imposter. There are absolutely external systems as well that actively try and make people feel like they don't belong. And that's not what I'm talking about here. That's go talk to expert like or many of the other people doing the work out there. That's not what this forum is. This is more about what parts of ourselves can we control? What role do we play? Do you want to accept some of those external stories or your power and your joy about the things that you do? Yeah, that's where I'm going with that one. That was fun. So what are those stories that you're telling yourself? What are the undercurrents or the things that you may not be aware of? So pay attention to that in the next couple of days and see where that lands you. Okay, I don't see any questions yet. Just take a moment. I'm going to check because the comments don't come through. So let me just make sure that nobody has asked a question that I just missed it out there. Yep, nothing yet, and that's totally fine. Again, if you want to be team replay and ask your questions later, I will get to them. But we have 4 more days of lives, and I am done with this experiment. And then you'll have to book a call like everybody else. All right, I don't see any questions yet in the comments. So when we have those times, oh, hey, Danique, great to see you. Thank you for the support. Well, I'm going to do just a tea grow, and if anything comes to mind for you, then please feel free to chime in the comments. So T, the topic is psychic energy, intuition, purple card with a purple glowing sphere and a black eye. I think this is very appropriate since we just started into the full moon, and thank you for the kudos for consistency. Really appreciate the energy and support. So glad you could make it. New moon vibes, definitely tapping into your intuition. It's not the new moon, it's the full moon. Sorry, it's the peak, the big round one that oohs and ahs. And I love this card, kind of looks like a moon. And generally, I am definitely a person that's fascinated with the phases of the moon, just seeing it, this big giant thing in the sky. And some days you feel like you can just reach down and touch it. It navigates tides. So I think it ties into the last card that we're talking about with what are the underlying systems out there that move and impact our lives, but we don't see it. So I think that's a really good topic to explore in your own life. Where areas that there are systems and that subconscious programming in your head that's impacting your life and you don't see it. So let's explore a little further with a potential goal. I don't know your life, but maybe something will spark for you. So here we have the Steel Energy Pokemon card. It is a silver card with a glowing silver sphere. It has an inverted black triangle with brackets around it. And I've been feeling this one as more setting boundaries, setting firm, clear boundaries. Steel is also a conductor. So for you might be wanting to have more of a conduit between your intuition, your higher self, your gut feelings, and your life. So maybe you view this more as a conductant. Okay. Danique says she's feeling the Virgo energy, inspiration that aligns with my journey and life assignment. If I'm understanding Virgo energy right, it's things that create order. I absolutely can do that as well in my life. And kudos for you, Danique, that you are inspired to take actions that align journey and life assessment. And yeah, we had talked earlier in the chat about where are areas in our life that bring us more joy and what are things that we can remove or simplify, which I think really ties into this idea of Virgo energy. Where can we simplify our lives in order that we can have more joy? And when you're talking about aligning with your journey, that's where I think these boundaries come into play. And for some people, that might not be fun. Setting boundaries might mean walking away from something, taking on a new job or a new venue in your life. A few of my friends have quit their jobs and are following their dreams, which is really exciting and terrifying for them. But they have full confidence that they're going to make it. And, I'm looking forward to hearing about their success. So a boundary doesn't have to be a blockade. It could be a way to help conduct your way forward. Steel is a very strong and flexible material. And I think that aligns very well with tapping into your intuition, conducting the thoughts and the actions that you need to take to be better aligned on your journey. So Danique, thank you so much for that comment. So then we have the R in Tigro. What's like the reality of the situation? How ready are we to do these actions? And well, get the Lightning Energy Pokemon card. I love this card. It is bright yellow, which is very happy color to me. People might be yellow wallpaper for you and it's madness, or just not a great place. But for me personally, I love this card. Yellow is very high energy. It's lightning, and there's a yellow sphere with a black lightning bolt. So for me, that's like, I'm fired up and ready to go. I don't see, and lightning is conducted through steel. So far to me, all of these, a lot of energy. It's all about an energy game. Where are you directing your personal energy, your personal power, your time? If you're a scientist and you're like, hate energy and woo-woo, then where are you directing your time and your resources? And does that align with your higher purpose, with your higher goals, with your best intentions? Are you using boundaries to contain and direct that energy? Because if energy is just scattered, it can be dangerous, it can be dissipated, like too much things at once causes a shock, right? We don't want that either. So where can we empower ourselves and bring joy while also not doing harm to ourselves and others? How ready are we for this? So this is a let's go, let's do it. And so if you're fired up and ready to go, where are the opportunities to help you achieve this purpose? So let's take a gander, and we get Tailo. This is a normal Pokemon. It's like a swallow bird flying high in the air above this beautiful, gorgeous sea. Danique, I know you love that island life. There's kind of like a reckless charge. I get the idea of when I see this card of the Greek myth of Icarus trying to fly to the sun. And I think people missing that the sheer genius and creativity of building something that can get you to those heights. Everybody focuses on the fall, but not that they actually created something that got them this close. I think it's Icarus and Daedalus, his father. His father was Daedalus, that could create something so magnificent that gets you up there. So with the boundaries, how can we temper that so we don't fly? Yeah, all for island life and sunshine. If we don't try, we're absolutely succeed. So I think an opportunity is taking a risk, a calculated risk maybe, or some people, like I said, they've just thrown it all on the line. They're like, I'm going for bust. And if you don't try, you can't soar. Riding the tailwinds, like another opportunity is how birds actually fly, is they let I don't remember the name of the things, but they follow the wind. I honestly don't remember the name of it's not the jet stream, but they follow the streams of air. Okay, that's my technical terms. And they let the wind do a lot of the work for them. That's why they have wingspans to soar. So when you're trying to pursue these things, what is the path of least resistance that allows you to build on existing momentum without having to continually be flapping, putting in all this work? How can you best streamline and make use of your time and resources so that you can get maximum enjoyment with the least amount of effort? Like, stop fighting against yourself in this situation, and recognize the boundaries. You don't want to like burn yourself out and come crashing down to the ground. So then, what's a small step that we can take to move forward? What's a small step that we can take to move forward to pursue that higher dream that you want? Oh, we get lots of energy Pokemons today. So we get the Grass Energy Pokemon card. It's a green card with a green glowing sphere and a grass leaf. And there's so many ways to interpret that. I definitely feel about being organic in what you're doing, thinking in holistic terms, the not just your dreams and goals, but how does that impact people upstream, downstream, your environment, the other people around you? How can you do this with burning out? I also take this literally. It could be nourishing yourself with more plants, right? Because you eat your vegetables, they're good for you. It could be getting out in nature. I mean, Talo is soaring in the sky. Green would be associated with your heart chakra. So again, self-compassion and love, relationships, community. Those are other small areas that you can explore to be better aligned with the things that you would like to do. So whatever that comes up for you is a good way to go forward. But I encourage you to consider a holistic view of the action that you want to take, because we're all entangled and intertwined, even though we think we're alone. All those actions have ripples and choices. Even if you with your cat, you never know what that could rub off in the rest of the world. Maybe you have a nice cat, it goes out and a neighbor sees it and it's, oh, what a cute cat, and it brightens their day, and they go and be nice to somebody else. So I'm all about, sharing love and kindness, because it is how we fight hate. And it seems naive, not going to lie, but it doesn't cost you anything to be kind. And it is challenging sometimes to be kind in what we see out there. But just remember that we are all in this together. And if we all work collectively for the highest good. Oh, we have a question. What advice would you give to someone who wants to dream big and think abundantly while facing the challenges and setbacks of everyday life and societal narratives? So I'm going to put this up here. So I don't give advice, but we'll ask questions about it to spark that advice and see what we come up with together. So what advice would I give to someone who wants to dream big and think abundantly while facing the challenges and setbacks of life's social narratives? Okay, so let's see what's happening in this situation. And we get love disc. So this is a little heart-shaped fish swimming in the ocean. It's kind of a salmony pink along the ocean floor. And it's a water energy poke card. And water has a flow, but water also sometimes takes the shape of the container. Loving couples have a soft spot for this Pokemon. Okay, so it's a little fish swimming in the water. And when I'm thinking abundantly, it's if this fish were dreaming, like if fish was stuck in the fishbowl and it wants to dream about the ocean, right? So I think that's a good analogy for our person. So you might think about if you were a fish and contained, or maybe you used to have freedom and now you're in a fishbowl. Sometimes people don't recognize the fishbowl, and they don't even know they can dream of something bigger than themselves. So what I'm hearing from your question is this person might be a fishbowl person and they want to dream about an ocean. They're like, there's got to be more to life than this. I swum past this castle 200 times now, really bored. And they hit the glass, right? Let's say the glass is clear, so they come and swim up against it, and we're not going anywhere. So the person has a vision and they're hitting that glass every day. So it's a challenge, right? What's a challenge with dreaming big? Because nothing's stopping you from dreaming big, but it's hard to sustain that dream, right? So here we have Charjabug. This is a lightning energy Pokemon. It looks like a reinforced caterpillar train, and it's it's storing up energy, it's charging energy as it goes along. So I think the challenge is that sustainability, it's powering up that vision, because the setbacks and the narratives that that's a pipe dream or something like that, it really it disband your energy, discharge your energy. So from the food it digests, it generates electricity and stores it. So it's meant to, and it looks like a little like chugging train, like an organic caterpillar train to me. So how does our fish keep going forward? How this charger bug is going through, like it seems to be emerging from like a gate, like breaking through boundaries, right? So we're dreaming big, we're trying to break through boundaries, and once something is discharged, then you have to build it up again. So I like that it kind of has power banks, right? So even if something else is discharged, it is storing stuff in its electric sac. And you have to constantly feed and nourish your dream. And I would say renewal is a big part of facing those challenges and setbacks. So the challenge is reaching. The challenge is keeping up the momentum on that joy. So what can help us in that situation, if that's what you think that your challenge is? So for me, it's like, what is the problem that we're trying to solve? So why are challenges and setbacks getting in the way of your, of like shutting down that dream because you had a setback? Why are we not as resilient to setbacks in our dreams versus when everything's going our way? So I think is what is driving you that you cannot quit. I was talking to my friend Cara Smith, and she's a Nichiren Buddhist as well. And when you set an intention, her what she shared with me is it's something that is going to happen no matter what. So I think when you're setting dreams, it's a dream that is big, that you're like, this has got to happen no matter what. Like my own dream is, it's not a huge dream. The numbers seem huge, but it is 1,000 baby dolls going to my world leaders in protest of what is happening. For example, that's a pretty big dream. And I'm thinking abundantly, like it's been reshared. But the challenges are, I don't personally see any traction. And yeah, I can keep mailing these things and inspiring and talking about it, because I think that is happening is untenable. So this for me is a dream because it's serving a bigger purpose that should happen no matter what. I want a bigger change in society no matter what. So we have to empower ourselves. So this is the lightning. We're getting this card a lot today. The lightning energy Pokemon card. It's a yellow card, a yellow lightning bolt that ties right back into Charjabug. So it is about doing things that renew you, that bring you joy. It might be, I don't know what works for other people. It might be having a vision board. Some people, it might be affirmations. When I worked with her, she made us write a story of what that amazing life looked like. When I've been in therapy, my therapist did the same thing. Write down what that dream means. Get very visceral with this dream. When this dream is accomplished, what does it look like? What does it sound like with you? What does it taste like? What is physically happening? What does it smell like? What does achieving this dream mean fully and holistically? What lights your spark? What fires you up? What is the joy from achieving this dream? And how are you making this happen? So for me, the lightning energy Pokemon card is about self-empowerment, because who shuts down your dream? You do. You shut down your dream when you give up. When you give up, they have won, and you absolutely will not accomplish your dream because nobody's there with you. If you're not fighting for your dream, if you're not your number one cheerleader, as our other friend Akua Kant says, then nobody's going to be rooting for you with your dream. So it there are absolute boundaries in things. Like there are physical limitations, unless maybe you do plastic surgery. For example, if my dream is to be 6 feet tall, that is not possible physically. I cannot will my bones to grow. I can get some really high shoes and practice walking in them. I'm still not legitimately 6 feet tall, but I'm putting on something that can help us. So I think it's also not taking those dreams literally and allowing them the space to evolve and thinking creatively about these challenges and setbacks. So even if biologically it's not possible for me to be 6 feet tall, I can get there through shoes, through standing on something, right? Stilts, platforms. I can experience what it could be to be 6 feet tall just by stacking, walking up some steps and looking at a new perspective. Like, okay, this is the perspective of someone that's 6 feet tall. So give yourself some flexibility in your dreams and think about ways to empower it, even if society tells you no. When we people that we can't do something, dream of something that hasn't happened before. Right now, we're seeing robots in our world. We are seeing specimens, creatures, creations that can do things that we never thought were possible. There's robot deliveries. There's movies where, even though I still refuse to see it because they messing with the OG Avatar, which is Aang and his crew. I will not see the other Avatar movie, but I will give it credit for this idea that you can take on a different form through powers of technology, for example. So using creativity to find a different avenue or venue for your dream, like as our friend Echo says, like this testing mindset. So if you're dreaming big and abundantly, but you're facing setbacks, what's another way to approach or tackle your dream? And maybe some you need to adjust the dream or go even bigger. Like if you go even bigger, then you might get that first accomplishment. Like they say, if you want to make $5, go for 1 million. Then everything else is gravy. Maybe your dream isn't big enough. Big, bold dreams. Think past the goal, and that can get you closer to where you want. And finally, we get the fire energy Pokemon card, which I think ties into what I just said. It is a orange card with orange. It's an orange circle with a black, and orange for me is about creativity. It's about passion. So are you passionate about your dream? And that's not everything. I mean, there's logistics. You need to have a plan, right? A dream without a plan is a goal without a plan is a dream. So we have the dream big, but also what's going to put it forward? Like this charge a bug, right? What are actionable steps that you can take to empower yourself, keep up the momentum, keep that fire burning so your dream can persist. And when we look at the fire energy Pokemon, again, when we're talking about dreams, to keep a fire going, you have to be strategic. You can't just put a lighter next to a log and expect that to light up, because it's too big for that flame to consume. A fire start with kindling. You set up. It's kind of like, and I'm overlapping my fingers, but you kind of make a canopy around the kindling so that you can control the amount of oxygen that gets into this fire. So with your dream, to nurture it, you have to start with it has fuel to a spark, and then you have to have a steady source of dry twigs and leaves to feed that flame. So it's the same thing with your dream. Dream big, right? We're going to get to a bonfire. to start a fire, you need to have some kindling and build it. You can't just do everything all at once. I mean, maybe you can, maybe you're one of the few that lightning strikes and you just take off. But most people, you have to build a flame and be patient and feed it the right kind of fuel, nothing wet that it sputters. It needs oxygen, and you have to control it so you don't just burn up everything at once. So making sure you have a steady way to fuel your dream, and eventually you add bigger and bigger pieces of wood, but you can't just leave a fire unattended. It will burn out, or it will flow and like burn up all your surroundings. So it's being very intentional in your actions about this dream. Have your big dream, but also think about the way forward. What's the kindling? What's the fuel to keep up the momentum of that dream? How big do you want it or need it to be? Like, we can have fires, but you need something big enough to contain it, give it structure, and again, that fuel source for your dream to succeed. Does that answer the question about dreaming abundantly while facing those challenges and setbacks? Well, you might be typing. That's that's the advice I would give. Some of the questions to ask, clearly defining your dream and having a full vision is the things that sustain you when you are facing those challenges and setbacks. And giving yourself time. Awesome. I'm so glad it was helpful. Giving yourself the time to make this dream a reality. So much times we're rushing, and if it didn't happen, then it's never going to happen. I look at the Susan Boyles. I look at even Macy Gray. Gray didn't start her singing career till her 40s. She had a dream. She didn't give up, right? Susan Boyle literally sang about her dream, and people misjudged her, discounted her, didn't think it was possible. Even, oh my gosh, it was I think his name was Andrew. He sang on, I don't remember if it was America's Got Talent or whatever the other shows were. And he had his 15 minutes of fame. So don't give up on your dreams. And again, if the dream isn't working out, dream bigger, overshoot the mark. And I'm looking forward to you accomplishing your dreams and visiting you on that life, my friend. And with that, we're going to close out by taking a deep breath in and exhale. Inhale that big, beautiful dream. Exhale your doubts and fears. Inhale creativity. Exhale despair. I know it's not that easy, but our mindset is also a big factor in those dreams. So don't be a struggle bug, be a charge a bug. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Tomorrow's live will be 6 p.m. I'll have that out for you later. Danique, thank you so much for joining and your great question, and have a fantastic rest of your day. Be well, everyone. Take care.